All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking a highly technical and honestly pretty fascinating announcement from the Linkspreed group. We're going to examine their blueprint for what they call the Super Engine and the UID token. Basically, we're looking at exactly how they plan to completely rewire the internet to give you back your digital sovereignty. If you've been following the whole evolution of Web 4, you already know the stakes for our data are incredibly high right now. Linkspreed is making some absolutely bold claims about the future of that data, so let's dive in and see how they actually plan to pull this off. So let's start with a massive question. Can your entire life be mapped into a process? This is the exact concept Linkspreed is using to hook us into their vision of the new internet. They boldly claim that for 99% of people, the answer is yes. And the wild part? They aren't just theorizing about this. They are actively building the infrastructure to try and prove it. And that really sets the stage for everything we're going to cover today. Here's our roadmap for the explainer. First, we'll look at the broken identity landscape, then life as a sovereign token, peek inside the Super Engine, break down their 40x WeChat analogy, examine the Web 4 architecture, and finally, wrap up with reclaiming your digital footprint. Section 1. The broken identity landscape. Okay, so right now, your digital landscape is completely fractured. It's just a mess of disconnected databases and redundant verification loops. You essentially exist in these walled corporate silos, treating your own identity as a product that you just rent. Think of it like lugging around this giant, heavy key ring with a dozen different keys for a dozen different rented apartments, but you never actually own the building. Linkspreed is proposing a massive paradigm shift here. They want a unified, fluid digital journey built on sovereign identity and a fully decentralized framework. So in this new scenario, you hold one single master key to a digital property you fully own. You move away from all those frustrating, redundant administrative hurdles toward a completely seamless flow. Section 2. Life as a sovereign token. To make this happen, Linkspreed is introducing something they call UIID, which stands for Universal Integrated Identity Decoupled. They are explicitly not looking at your identity as raw data to be harvested and sold off to advertisers. Instead, they view it as a decoupled token that acts as your absolute anchor online. Think of this token like a cryptographically sealed envelope. It proves you are exactly who you say you are, but without ever revealing the actual contents inside the envelope to every single website you visit. By treating your identity this way, you become the one constant variable across every digital interaction you'll ever have. And the best part? It keeps your private information entirely in your own hands. Now, Linkspreed models this token's life cycle across 4 distinct stages. At age 0, the birth stage, you possess this sovereign token virtually from the moment you're born. Next comes guardianship, where parents or legal guardians securely manage the token's parameters during your childhood and teenage years. Then, you hit maturity. Upon turning of legal age, the token is fully unlocked, handing absolute digital sovereignty directly over to you. And finally, integration. This is where your token seamlessly accompanies you into thousands, or literally millions, of downstream lifecycle subprocesses, everything from buying your first house to signing an employment contract. Section 3. Inside the Super Engine. So, with your identity secured as a token, we have to ask, where does it actually do anything useful? Well, enter the Super Engine, or Super PE. This is the core operational layer of Linkspreed's decentralized internet. Think about it. Right now, every single bank, government agency, school, and utility provider has to build, maintain, and secure their own isolated process engines. Imagine if every physical grocery store you visited forced you to build the cash register from scratch before you could buy a carton of milk. That is basically the internet today. The Super Engine acts as this universal execution environment. It steps in so institutions don't have to waste time and resources building redundant systems when you, the user, are already securely registered and verified. Inside this engine, processes happen in one of 2 ways. They are either explicitly modeled by human architects for specific, rigid institutional frameworks, or, and this is super cool, they're autonomously generated on the fly by personal AI agents to fulfill your spontaneous needs. This means the whole ecosystem adapts dynamically to the complexity of whatever task you're doing. It can handle a highly structured process like autofilling a crazy complex multi-state corporate tax return just as easily as it can handle an AI agent spontaneously negotiating the purchase of your morning cup of coffee. Section 4. The 40 by WeChat analogy. 40 times larger. No, seriously, let that sink in for a second. Linkspreed explicitly states that their architecture shares conceptual DNA with the wildly successful mini apps ecosystem inside WeChat. Now, to put that into perspective, WeChat has over 1 billion users who essentially live their entire digital, financial, and social lives within that one single application. It's already a massive undertaking, yet Linkspreed claims their new infrastructure is structurally 40 times larger in scope. But here's the core difference, and it all comes down to infrastructure. WeChat is a centralized, corporate walled garden restricted to a single app framework. The Super Engine, it's completely decentralized and embedded directly into the fabric of the internet itself. So we're moving from a closed corporate loop into an open, global environment that is capable of handling everything from massive international logistics chains all the way down to securing your highly personalized, localized medical data. It's not just an app anymore. It is the fundamental environment that the apps live in.
Section 5. Inside Web 4 Architecture.
Now, you might be wondering how this all fits together. Well, all of these concepts fit natively into Linkspreed's proprietary 7-layer Web 4 architecture. At the very foundation, Layer 1, we have the UIID protocol. That's your data anchor and sovereign identity core for instant verification. Moving up the stack to layers 4 and 6, we find the Helion routing layer and the Atrium super app. Think of this as your personal gateway. It's the singular dashboard where all your life processes, like contracts and digital assets, are visualized. And finally, at layer 7, we have Winex. This is the decentralized operating system running right down to the metal. It ensures execution happens securely on localized, privacy-first consumer hardware. This isn't just software floating around in the cloud. It's designed to run on physical devices you'll actually hold in your hands, like their future W phones and W books, completely cutting out those legacy cloud monopolies.
Section 6. Reclaiming your digital footprint.
We've explored the token, the dynamic engine, and this massive 7-layer architecture. So what is the ultimate endgame for all of this? Well, Linkspreed's announcement sums it up perfectly. They state, and I quote, "By marrying UIID with a super engine, we are moving past the era of data serfdom and stepping into a world where your digital footprint truly belongs to you." This new framework isn't just about making things more efficient. It's fundamentally about ownership. It provides the necessary infrastructure to finally escape data serfdom, making the next iteration of the web more intuitive and honestly far more secure than anything we've used before. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative thought directly inspired by Linkspreed's vision. The architecture of the internet is literally shifting right beneath our feet. As these systems transition from corporate walled gardens to decentralized sovereign tokens, your digital footprint is shifting along with it. The technology to reclaim that footprint is actively being built right now. So the real question is, are you ready to finally own it? Thank you so much for joining me for this deep dive into the Linkspreed Super Engine, and definitely keep your eyes on this space as the new internet arrives.